tomorrow. They're going to need at least one win, I think, realistically, to try to make it into playoffs. TL, of course, trying to fight for that top of the table standings finish. Looking for first place if C9 could give them some help.
Yep. Did check. They are 0-2 against Golden Guardians. So if CLG doesn't catch up and we sit there with Dig and Golden Guardians sitting at 7 wins, it's Golden Guardian spot and Dig are gone. So either CLG helps out in three-way ties or Dig must win one of these games.
Yeah, and it's going to be really tough. I mean, they haven't been able to reliably beat teams at the top of the table whatsoever. So I kind of agree with what the desk was talking about. Bring in some variance. Go for some high variance picks here. And Karma to me is not that. You know, I would be more of a fan of like, hey, it's Blitzcrank. Hey, it's Bard. Hey, it's something crazy that if you get hot, you can really take over a game. But we'll see what Dignitas wants to bring out with the rest of their draft. Karma early always makes me think that it's just going to be like Karma Ezreal bot lane. We'll see if they're actually going to move towards that. Karma plus Viego, pretty strong combo. We did see Caps play Karma mid today, so there is a small consideration that it could be in a solo lane, but I'm going to be assuming that it will be bot and very likely paired with Ezreal. That's pretty much always what you see when Karma gets first pick. Ezreal's coming in thereafter. TL on the other side, grabbing the Ahri for Bjergsen, which after some really good games, did get banned out yesterday. It was last week, he had two really strong Ahri games where I thought Bjergsen was the carry, wasn't just along for the ride, wasn't just having a mistake-free performance. He was the reason they were winning, so they get that back. They get Santorin on the Hecarim, so you've got some strong engage, and we'll see if they're going to try to go with support match here, or perhaps just match AD, and then be knocked down a little bit in that tier list for support.
Couple things that I've seen that interest me. Number one is the Viego Hecarim matchup. We heard from Inspired yesterday, who said he really liked being Hecarim because he can like go and do stuff and fight, and then if anything goes bad, he can just kind of get out. I believe he was saying that Hecarim was the favorite side, unless I'm really misremembering. That Hecarim's happy to get away from stuff, and Viego has a harder time dealing with that. If I'm backwards, sorry, I forgot which one he said, but he likes one of the junglers in this matchup. As I like played over my head, I'm like, well, actually, Viego's not bad. And now I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So
really strong point you have there.
It's a really strong point.
Two junglers will enter. One of them might be better than the other.
Yeah.
But you're not sure which.
Inspired really was happy. One of
them is a horse.
I can look at the match history for Inspired and be like, oh, he played this one. He liked it. It was a draft gap. So anyway, we'll pick that one up a little bit later. Regardless, what I wanted to point out was the fact that Dignitas, the other part that I actually like more, was they kept hovering mid lane for the Viego pick.
Yeah.
I think trying to be like, oh yeah, it's Karma support. Look at all these mid laners we could play against you. If they're trying to mind game and be like, but it's actually Karma mid.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. TL at least hasn't bought the bait. You know, I think it is just going to be support, but we'll see if that does get changed around. The Sylas ban here, I think, is smart. You already have 3 very powerful ultimates to steal on the TL side. You'd be happy to grab any of those, regardless of what else they do lock in. Whereas for Dignitas, banning out potentially that Lucian top from Bwipo. He did play it once, and it wasn't a loss recently. He played it once earlier in the split and then won on it, but has been actually drawing a fair number of bans. I don't think this is a Hans pick unless he's been bringing it out in scrims, because we haven't seen it from him on stage, but clearly people are giving respect over to that Lucian solo lane. Has become a lot more popular over these last couple weeks. The return of a lot of these double marksman comps has been there as a result of that Lucian coming back in, but Ryze banned out. Double AD top laners banned out there for Bwipo, so expecting something of that variety from him. This makes me think that FakeGod is just going Gnar. We do have the Ashe here from Hans Sama, so he brought this out already once. I do actually really like Ashe, and I think it makes a lot of sense to be mixing it back in. And again, TL is going very heavy on the hard engage. They did this yesterday, I believe, with it was like Ornn, Nautilus, and maybe Ashe as well, if I'm recalling correctly. I think it was Trundle and then Ashe on top of that. So they had very, very heavy hard engage. That game, it was like Bjergsen on Victor, I believe. So a little bit of a different kind of profile, but they've really been loving the hard engage. Dignitas go the Gnar as expected with those double AD bans top. That is kind of pretty obvious. They are moving towards this. Bwipo has not really been the Aurelia guy to try to punish in this matchup. Yesterday, he actually took Ornn in this matchup in this exact same situation with the same bans in round 2. So he could just go right back to what they did yesterday with the Ornn here. But of course, there is always that chance of going for one of the aggressive melee matchups. We just haven't seen any Aurelia really from Bwipo. So if he were to go something a bit more aggressive, I think it might be something along the lines of a Camille to be able to kind of have that gank assist. GP would make sense if you want to play just kind of to survive and play cross map, help set up those engages with the ulti.
Yeah, and it's just finding more ways to say, yeah, we're going to help engage, and this allows him to be part of a dive composition while playing for split push. Keep in mind, right, Ahri starts fights out, Hecarim actually dives, Ahri actually dives, so adding an extra spell on top of, you know, backline access, definitely pretty valuable. I think it does fit what the TL comp is trying to do.
Absolutely, and I think this is, again, a situation, kind of back-to-back days now, where TL is basically throwing down the gauntlet and saying, you got to beat us early, because I think that TL just pretty much auto-wins late with this kind of composition. I think that their 5v5 is incredibly powerful into what Dignitas has actually drafted, and TL has shown just yesterday against the Gnar that they will punish you if your Gnar bar is not ready. Ligorosh got punished constantly for that. Dignitas are going to have to turn in a strong early game here. We'll see if they can do it.
Ezreal Karma in the bottom lane. They're going to push for the fences early on. Can they do it? Let's find out. And here we are. Welcome to game one of day 2 of Super Week. Dignitas fighting for their lives. They don't get help. They must win a game to make playoffs. And it starts here with Team Liquid, the current second-seeded team. They could catch and surpass Cloud9 if the latter were to drop a game. Right now, Dignitas walking through a ward uninnovated into the bottom side.
Like they actually are kind of down to scrap. They're moving Bwipo down. They're going to 5-man stack in this brush, expecting that Dignitas might wrap around.
Okay, so this is smart.
Yeah,
so
this is recall.
Invades 102. Obviously, stick together, do the thing, put the ward down. If it's before a minute, recall out of the invade. Do not walk out of the invade, because they probably haven't warded the brush in their own jungle. So they don't know for certain where you've gone if you get the recall. So TL sets his big trap. And yes, they'll get to lanes on time, right? But if they walked back out, you might walk by the mid lane. Oops, you get caught with a hook. You walk down to the bottom lane. They see you on the ward and your tempo's off. Like,
look at this. This is
This
is kind of clever, just how they were expecting where that ward was, so they were actually hiding away from the vision of that ward until the last second to try to delay information on the start. Of course, that information will still be there. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think both teams played it appropriately. I was talking about this yesterday during the cast, but we've been seeing so many more 5-man level 1s, which I actually just think is correct to mix this in. And hook does land. We'll see how much this trade is going to be on Bio.
Pretty solid. Bio's out of potion already, and we'll see if he's got biscuits for more later on. But if he does have more sustain, then he can trade his health bar for someone else's. And you know, if CoreJJ's at half HP, it's a glacial Nautilus. You can focus that champion.
Yep.
And River already 2 camps in, walking through the mid lane. I believe
he's going to enemy red. I think.
Spotted.
Yeah, it won't be spotted, but he will be spotted walking in past this ward. And now the question is, do they actually try to collapse? So right now he's trying to go into the brush, perhaps? No, he's just going to try to take away the Raptors. But this is a weird invade because Santorin's already here, has already done the 3 camps. Neither of them have smite, so they're just kind of battling for it, but Santorin can just reset this way.
But he's going to find the stun into the follow-through, and of course with Ghost, you can't get away from it, so if the chains land and the CC's there, they'll kill him. Trying to get right back in, need one more shot, and they find it, first blood, and a corpse for Viego. Thank you for the kingdom. It's going to be mine now.
Yeah, River's going to be able to take away the camp and get the red buff. Blue gets the kill and a blue buff here. That is a massive start for Dignitas. Santorin just felt way overconfident. Bjergsen hadn't moved yet, and he was just taking the scrap. He was up a level, but it is a red buff Viego there, so you've got to be paying that respect over to the power of this champion, and Blue moved way faster, so it just felt like he was kind of underestimating the situation. You know, I didn't think it was going to work because I thought that TL would play it out a little bit more slowly. Bjergsen would move over, and they would kind of recapture their jungle, being up a level on the Hecarim, but instead, it felt like Santorin just went straight for it, thinking he would actually be able to win out on this fight. They spot him going in. He pushes him out immediately, but Bjergsen is at the tower, has already spent his charm here, and when Blue moves over, Bjergsen is not moving. He's not going to be able to actually get there, so you have got to be running immediately But at this point, it feels like it's too late. As you said, he has no flash. He is on the Ghost. It seemed like he was kind of trying to sidestep a chain or something. But Blue actually didn't even have level 3, so he didn't even have chain available.
Really walk in a straight line and you're fine.
Yeah, so I think a lot of misplays, honestly, from TL in that one. Santorin could have walked straight out. He was giving the respect that he had chains. I think that's why he's behind the Raptors, but just didn't realize that LeBlanc wasn't even level 3.
Right, River already flash stun. He burned the Q. Blue just has QW. That is basic LeBlanc, skill orders right there. So yeah, it's playing around something that's not really there. I mean, hey, how often do you get level 2 invaded by a LeBlanc on Raptors? And I like that Dig went for the aggressive play. And hey, at worst, they get a camp and force summoner, right? At best, they also get first blood. And now a play towards the bottom side. They're gonna look in. The flash in for the chain. They're gonna get the root. Is Hansama gonna die? Ignite is on as well. They land the long-range stun from River, and they're gonna knock him down as well. Dignitas, fighting for their lives, have taken 2.
Oh, River lands the stun around CoreJJ, who wasn't able to block it. Great angle there to actually land that. Bio with just a straight up flash in. TL had the wards, but Bio with the tether flashes to keep it leashed there. Dignitas aggressive start. And this is why you go for those aggressive plays here. You force your opponent to make the correct response. And there are times where it's not a situation that you're used to. That invade is a great example. As you said, how many times you get level 2 invaded by the LeBlanc, level 2 invaded by a Viego cross map in this situation. Wasn't responded to appropriately. All of a sudden, Dignitas 2 kills across the map, up 1,000 gold here early on. Things looking really good for them.
I will say the first power spike does come through for Bwipo. Sheen plus a Cole, refill the potion. Happy to land on this for a while. He's trying to stack up Grasp. Has actually CS pretty well. He'll be up against FakeGod. The question is, will the farm matter or will the TP lead matter? Because FakeGod, for now, still has control over the lane. Hecarim is topside going to his Krugs now for Santorin. Still only level 4. So a while till he can get that ulti to make the dives really look good. And we'll see if there's a repeat play towards the bottom side. Blue tries to scrap with Bjergsen, does not land the chain.
Yeah, nice little attempt. He got 6 first, so he was trying to look for that chain. If you do actually connect with the chain, then you can use the ulti there as well. And FakeGod, I think he's just going to probably ult this wave even. This is just one where you need to get it reset. You haven't actually TP'd back. Okay, ult the wave. Now back it up. We'll see though. Bwipo hit 6, so he could potentially have gone for that. I think it would be a flash for flash in that scenario. I think that's probably the best you get.
Yeah.
Because if you drop the ulti and then you flash for a Q, that's going to be the most you get. But it looked like FakeGod still had about 250, 300 health. I don't think it would be enough to kill him.
Yeah, like it's a good play if your ult forces flash and you're ult for flash and you've got a 2-minute cooldown window to go again later. And that's maybe worthwhile, but is Gnar's flash going to matter in the next 5 minutes? Maybe not. You're not really diving him.
And when you're playing the GP side of this matchup and you have a call, you're happy, right? You're kind of chilling. So I think he's happy to push him out of lane there. Of course, FakeGod was going to get the reset, and he didn't know where Viego was either. That's the other aspect of it. So if you try to look for a flash follow and you die, then it ends up being pretty rough. Santorin, though, has wrapped behind. He is not level 6, but no flash on Biofrost. He should be dead.
Ooh, flash Q. Here comes the horsey, and Biofrost doesn't have a way out. Hand the kill over. It goes to Hansama. Well done. Ignite does not steal the kill. And 300 now gold back on the AD carry of Team Liquid.
Really nice pathing from Santorin. They should have had the idea that there was a ward in the tri-brush. He very clearly played around it. He never stepped in vision of that. Just waits behind. They go for the easy target. They punish the missing summoner. This is really kind of just jungling 101 there. When the summoners are down, attack those players, get the force in.
Yep.
And it's a really nice job from TL to also give that over to Hans because there's no escaping that from Karma.
Yeah, okay, nice play right here. Charm is going to land. Blue does not quite get over Q2, though, from Bjergsen. Ults the W for damage, but doesn't quite get over the orb. Pretty heavy trade on both sides, going through potions now, corrupting on both players, so they'll get their health bars back up. But yeah, something that I think we can spend some time talking about is a lot of good play is aggressive play, right? It's failing to punish a cooldown or failing to go for a dive is a misplay. It doesn't look like a difference in the scoreboard. You don't suddenly have a solo death and it looks bad. But going for those plays, they're often 90-10, right? And once in a while it gets turned around because a freak accident happens. But yeah, good to see the aggressive plays. Okay, flash down, we go for the play. We burn the ghost. We make sure we get the kill. We go in for that one. Good to see those plays.
And I think one of the things that doesn't really get talked about a lot is I kind of look at when you're making an aggressive play and your opponent doesn't respond correctly, that is not an unforced error. That is a forced error. That is something that you created, right? And that is one of the advantages of very skilled players playing aggressively is that they can force mistakes out of their opponents because they're putting them in uncomfortable situations. They're making them respond to things that they weren't necessarily expecting. because a lot of what looks like, you know, reaction time is really like an understanding of the play and just kind of like running through the script. You look for this, you do that.
Right.
But when you put them in weird spots, people have to think on the fly, and that can be very, very difficult.
Right. Like, a LeBlanc jumped on me. I should juke the chain. Oh, it's level 2. I haven't... This is not normal, right? Like...
Exactly.
Yes, in
Santorin
hindsight...
has that built into his head. If he watches this back, he's like, yes, obviously I just walk out.
Yeah.
But in the moment, LeBlanc jumps on you, you know chain is coming. That is built in over thousands and thousands of games.
Yep.
He tried to juke it, gets punished.
To be fair, Blue did miss the chain in that fight. There were no chains hit, so, you know, who's really the smart one here? But Team Liquid have actually clawed their way back into the gold lead. Obviously, Bwipo...
Power of TL, man.
Yeah, I mean, they are just, you know, player different in some cases. Even though the CS isn't obvious in any given location, obviously Cole matters a little bit.
Two-plate spot as well.
And yeah, the bot lane kind of crushed right here where the plates are going through, and that's obviously very valuable.
Yeah, it's one of the things is so big in League is it's not just getting a kill, it's like where the lane is when you kill them, right? And in that situation, you know, they're able to actually have the push, so they kill off Bio. Neo is in a 1v3, so he can't hold the wave, so that means he has to back up, he has to lose that farm, and also it allowed them to get the 2 plates, right? So that gives a lot of gold over to Hansama. Of course, GP kind of printing money here. You know, he hasn't cashed in that call, but does have that passive gold from the parlay. And Bwipo going to be in a pretty comfortable spot. And I do really believe that Dignitas have to continue to keep that pressure up. They need to be playing, I think, with an advantage. You don't want GP to just be chilling in a side lane, ulting cross map, you know, because once Hans is 6, as he is now, they can just start looking for plays. Rinse and repeat, GP ulti goes down, Ashe ult comes out. You have so much follow-up with the Hecarim ulti, with the Nautilus ulti, that if you hit one of these squishy targets in the bot side, like, they're just going to die. There is no cleanse on Ezreal, so any CC connects, the follow-up should be there, and it should be 100-0.
Good mind games by Bwipo there. Gets FakeGod to burn the jump. Gets the barrels a little bit later for some minion damage, but overall is kind of crushing this lane now. FakeGod, we watched it for the last minute or so, is playing so much on the back foot in this lane. Will drop CS and is now going to drop his life. He will have Mega Gnar, has flash as well, but here comes the dive. Gonna ult 2 into the wall, the stun as well, and just goes right back in! The man solo kills Bjergsen! Bwipo's gonna drop as well, and FakeGod says calculate that 2-for-1 Dignitas.
Man, the flash from FakeGod there was so good. Flashing the charm and getting the instant ulti, but there's the arrow on bot side.
They gotta try to go onto Hansan, but it's not really gonna happen here. Biofrost gets the chain down, but burns, and the arrows push him in. A song of fire and ice down here, and Dignitas running away for their lives.
Nicely done by TL, getting something back on the bot side, but 4 plates out of mid lane as well, so Dignitas really fighting back. Looked like it could have been a pretty routine dive pulled off, were it not for that flash from FakeGod, avoiding the charm, getting the double Mega Gnar into the wall there. Bought a lot of time. Blue arrives. That one goes in their favor. They do lose out on the other side, but thankfully, River intelligently covering mid, pushing that out, dropping the Herald at the same time. When your mid has to go top, it's your job to cover that lane. So we can watch this one more time. They aren't spotted on vision, but they know mid lane is missing. And you pointed out, FakeGod was about to Gnar out. You know, that was the difference maker that allows them to have a chance here. Flashing the charm and the Q, actually, both of those do miss. He gets the double wall up after the stun of the wall, connects with his boulder toss there, the Q as well, and then Blue arriving, finishes off Bwipo. Really nicely played. He's like, hold on.
Yeah.
You don't get to dive me that easy.
Yeah. Well done. Good play. I mean, FakeGod has gotten a lot of flack. Of course, he's looked like one of the weak points of Dignitas, and it's good to see that, look, backs against the wall, you really can step up. And I had some early impression now fighting back against Bwipo with obviously the kill to his name, gets a bit of extra gold. Does a bit of something there on his way towards his next piece of damage. I think that's the Sunderer build path, if I recall correctly. Either way, we're knocking in the minions and pushing forward. Actually, that's Hullbreaker build path, so probably going there for split push power.
Yeah, it would be a little bit weird to see Hullbreaker Gnar again, I think. I mean, you do, when you go Mega Gnar, I guess you get the full stats, but like, I just don't think it's that strong on range champions anymore, personally. We'll see where he does end up completing, but it does look like that. Bwipo, probably working towards his Triforce here.
Yeah.
Santorin clearing up towards top, so there is going to be a chance of a repeat towards FakeGod, who, you know, is in mini right now, doesn't have flash. They could try to look to punish that missing summoner. Well, yes, it did go Dignitas' way. That flash is still going to be down, and no one on TL's side spent theirs.
All right, pretty good ulti. Ezreal's going to tag a couple. They're going to look for a stun, but not going to land anything on a CoreJJ, so a Lantern and an E to safety. TL's bot lane gets out, no problem. Next dragon spawns in 45 seconds. TL got the first one at about 9 minutes into the game.
Here's the wraparound, potentially trying to punish this flash here. We'll see if they can get it.
Gonna trade down, should have a barrel pretty soon. Nice, knocks the barrel down, but nowhere much to go. Ulti gonna be available, I believe. And then puts him into the wall, almost has the damage, but not quite. Gets Santorin to put in the charge at the very end. And no trade of kills. Neo dropped dangerously low as the ults had come through for TL a little bit ago. No deaths on the bottom side, but yeah, TL farming a bit more gold up top.
Yep, nicely done. They were trying to hold on to the Hecarim ult and just not spend it, see if they could get the kill without it, but realizing it was getting a little bit dicey, Santorin does have to actually use that ulti. Either way, still a good kill. They know the flash is down. That was the advantage, and again, Santorin has done a great job punishing missing summoners. He punishes Biofrost early on after they got the kill there, then missing flash from the dive. They punish FakeGod up on that top side, but Dignitas striking back on the bot side. They will be able to take this dragon, and they are keeping it relatively close.
Yeah, I mean, we're still 300 gold apart, and we've got 1 dragon to 1. Now, you had mentioned in Champ Select that you favor Team Liquid in the late game team fights, saying, hey, come to us earlier, it's not going to happen. TP to the bot side, Neo at half HP, no flash, no heal. Ahri's on the way in, gets the root, GP on the top, and sadly, Hansama sets it up in a 7-10 split. The shots go both ways. Equilibrium here on display as Bjergsen knocks down 2.
Oh, what a teleport from Bjergsen. I don't think they were expecting that one at all. Not even a minute past the unleash of the teleport. Finds the angle to get down to that bot side. Blue, again, will punish. Dignitas has been good at actually punching back on other sides of the map. They get first tower mid. They had already put the Herald down there earlier, so it was softened up. And now they're rotating towards top, but TL has the read. Core and Bjergsen out of base, sprinting towards top, so Dignitas won't be able to find a play there, but they should be able to grab the Herald and continue to try to fight back here. But that was just a really nice TP play. The Everfrost connected on Neo. The Charm connects on Biofrost, so we kind of CCs up both. They kill off Biofrost, and then Hansama hits the arrow onto Neo, who had no flash, who had no shift at that point, allowing Bjergsen to dash back in off of the kill reset, I believe, there. And we can see this in the Rocket flip the switch replay. Bjergsen coming in from the top left of your screen, and he goes. Everfrost lands on Neo. The Charm connects there. The hook to follow it up. The arrow over the top in the GP ulti, so you're slowed. You can't actually sidestep that very easily. Really well coordinated play from Team Liquid. And Bjergsen, again, impressing on the Ahri. This is 3 straight Ahri games where I think he's looked damn good.
Yeah, really impressive stuff right there. Maybe down in CS, but who cares? He's getting a lot done elsewhere.
A lot.
Yeah, he's been moving around, and obviously half of the kill participation on his team doing well. Hans, Ashe, I agree. Looks nice. The new faster arrows, I gotta say, pretty satisfying to shoot out, and I'm glad to see people picking it up. I want to point out that this draft didn't have Jinx or Aphelios banned or picked.
It's a miracle.
Off those. There were some nerfs, right? It's not just people decided they don't want to play champions anymore. There were some very late nerfs in those cases, but yeah, good to see some more variety in the bottom lane. Does feel a bit more open, which I'm happy about. As the Raptor camp goes down, arrow is not gonna land here. We'll see that later on today, though, when Immortals takes the stage. In the meantime, Team Liquid waiting.
I don't think we will. Wasn't Turtle in yesterday? We'll have to see.
I think they announced that it's back to Destiny and
They're mixing it up.
Yeah.
Well, TL pushing here on that bottom side, trying to put some pressure down. Dignitas have control of the top side here. They're moving up towards Bwipo. You can see Bwipo has already backed off. And TL are just trying to push them in here and just do the same thing that's happening to Bwipo, to Blue.
And that's going to be a bot lane turret going down. Yeah, Blue going to be on the backside here. Would have loved to steal around 70 gold with the distortion on that one, but can't land it. And it is going to be top lane turret dying, so Hullbreaker is going to get some value. And I will say, to my side, or sort of to defend FakeGod's build, I think Gnar is one of the champions, range champions, who still does, I think, like Hullbreaker pretty well. Yeah. He doesn't have a lot of extra stat synergies. Like, if you're a Graves, right? Oh, getting crit matters, getting more lethality armor pen matters because, like, you are kind of a burst mage or a big marksman. Like, you want multipliers. Gnar just kind of stacks health and AD, and, like, not much other than those stats, and like this is a pretty good source of both those stats.
Yeah, I mean it's not a horrible item by any means, but I just kind of am more of a fan of just like Triforce into tank or something along those lines. I think Triforce gets it done in lane. I think especially if you're not dominating through sides, you're not getting a lot of an advantage from the actual buffing up of the cannon and the additional damage there. It's not bad. But my preference is just go Triforce, go into pure tank. You're going to be more effective in the team fights, which is usually where Gnar is going to get things done anyway.
Fair enough. Well, he's on towards the Mythic now with the Sheen of the Kindle Gem, so we'll see that one completed. Before too long, good sidestep, just barely. That was, I believe, shot from FakeGod, because Core was already sweeping with a flash. Charm comes over the wall, and there's no way out. Neo cannot dodge that bullet. The Hecarim over the top as well, wants a little bit more. Down goes Biofrost, and there's not much of a fight left. FakeGod TP's in, but he's mini-Gnar. He's 3v5, but he's not getting anything done.
Man, TL has just done such a good job at punishing this squishy bot lane. They don't have anyone to kind of face check safely. There is no real tank here on Dignitas besides FakeGod, who is not with the squad, so they're trying to play for vision. Yes, the arrow does miss, but I believe it was Charm Flash there from Bjergsen right over the wall. Connects instantly. They have Hecarim to follow up. They have Nautilus to follow up. They have the Ashe slows. They have the GP ulti. They have so many tools that if you are caught out of position at all as Dignitas, there's no getting away from this TL squad. It is going to be really, really hard for them to actually play around that because TL has been very aggressive. And as Bjergsen picks up more and more of these picks, he is just going to be way ahead. So they miss the arrow, they retreat back. Bjergsen was spotted, but yeah, just Charm Flash. You can see Neo did get the E off in time, but the Charm had already connected, so it just kind of, he's charmed on the other side, pulled back in, which is even worse. The instant GP ulti on top, so you're slowed. There's no flash on him, so there's nowhere from him to go. Another Herald does get dropped, though, for Dig, so they're going to be able to grab the Dragon. They're going to be able to at least get a lot of damage down on this tower. They do have 2 dragons in their favor, so they're working towards that, but TL extending the gold lead, and we'll see if they can pull off this dive. There's no flash on, or rather no ulti.
Okay, no wave, walks right in. This is going to be a lot of pain out of poor Bwipo there. Doesn't have a way out. The last bit of damage, flashes, wants the kill. Blue has to flash and drop turret aggro. That may have killed him. I don't think it would have done 600, but better safe than sorry in this case. Gets out as TL plays for the top set of the map. Knocking down a turret. Dignitas getting a lot done on the bottom.
Yeah, they are, and it's been kind of just TL leaving Bwipo alone on the weak side of the map for a lot of this game. He's actually going to go Hullbreaker as well, so he wants to play heavily through the side lanes, and he, of course, is playing the full strength version, is not nerf for melee champions. But despite the pressure that has been on Bwipo for the last, I want to say 5-6 minutes, where it feels like he has been kind of weak side of the map, he's still nearly at 10 CS per minute. He has completed 2 items. He's cashed out his cull. The GP is not really being held down, but Dignitas have been scrappy about getting gold back. Anytime TL moves elsewhere, they're trying to punish, and I have liked their movements with that. In particular, Blue and River have been very good about trying to knock down these towers as quickly as possible if TL moves elsewhere for a play.
For sure. Fan Reds are in on Ashe. Gotta say, move speed feels very good on that champion. You pretty much always run the approach velocity as well, and you're kind of zipping around, and yeah, feels really, really good. If you needed more tank busting, could have obviously gone for like a Kraken Slayer instead of the Gale Force, but don't dislike the mobility. Getting away from a Karma route or LeBlanc whatnot. Like, this is gonna have enough damage, so I actually like this build quite a bit. Towards I'm hoping Infinity Edge third.
Yeah, and I think that it's not like there's no pure tank really on the side of Dignitas, so I don't think you need to absolutely maximize there. And these top level players just use Gale Force so effectively. I feel like it's basically another flash for them. So being able to really get a lot of value out on it. Blue laying in wait here, but as Bjergsen checks with Charm, he will have to retreat. Ow!
Pad the stats. Neo adds a little bit more to his DPM as Bjergsen's health regen now is going to kick in.
Worth pointing out, Blue did go a very aggressive option here. Shadowflame second, I love it. He is the sole AP threat on his team, so there's no MR really on the other side whatsoever that I see. Yes, there is a little bit in the Aegis on TL for CoreJJ, but that's it. Yep. And he has a lot of flat pen here. Has the Sorks, has the Shadow Flame, early Ludens, has the potential to swing this game, right? He's kind of the X factor now. He has 3 kills. If you can kill off Ashe or you can kill off, the GP or someone like that really, really quickly, then there is an opportunity for you to win a team fight. But barring that, I just don't see them winning a scrap.
Yeah, and I like Shadow Flame for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's a good flat pen item. He's just stacking flat magic pen to try to kill backline. Like, that is your goal as LeBlanc, right? A win condition is not, well, I worked through the Hecarim and Nautilus eventually. Like, that's not a good fight. It's like, well, I one-shot the Ashe. I'm stacking flat pen. But one thing I really like about Shadow Flame is that it has 300 health on it. You're assassin versus assassin in the mid lane. Guess what? Ahri's damage matters, and having 20% more health means you have a 20% lower chance of dying. Fuzzy math, but like, you have a much lower chance at dying if she goes back on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the health is for sure valuable, and there's a lot of CC, so it's a scary game to be LeBlanc, right? It's not one of those games where you can kind of just like W in just for free, not even worried, right? Because if you W in for a trade, like if you go in for a WQR, which is that kind of common little poke combo, and you get Ashe ulted or charmed or anything, you are just dead.
Looking forward to Bjergsen. The chase is through. They land everything. The burn is not going to be enough. Eats a potion. Just gets out the flash to safety. The slimmest of margins. The cosmic drive. Help is enough.
Man, Blue absolutely was lighting him up, though. Bjergsen trying to play for the scuttle. Didn't have vision around there. Does get punished for it. Ulti and flash are going to have to be expended. Dignitas still pressing. They need to keep playing for vision denial. It's so important when you're playing around your fed LeBlanc. You must deny coverage. You must have LeBlanc playing in fog. Make TL scared to walk into these brushes. That's really where Blue will be able to excel.
Knocks down the wards, and now the vision is gone around this Baron pit. Next Dragon spotting unit would be the third for Dignitas, as they would work towards Mountain Soul. Last I looked at the stats, second winningest Dragon Soul in the game, at least for solo queue. I have to double check because I haven't looked since the nerfs to Hex Tech, but regardless, that would stymie a lot of Ahri and LeBlanc's game plans.
Yeah, the flat pen really does kind of feel a lot worse when people get, 2 or 3 of those Mountain Dragons in there, plus the Mountain Soul Shield. Blue, though,
is in for the pretty tanky Hecarim. A little bit of a chunk goes right back out. Now 50 seconds to go. Doesn't burn many important cooldowns. Does have an ult right now actually down and will be gone for the start of the team fight if it happens right away. But a solid poke from the Ezreal, though. Yeah. No good way to sustain it for now.
It's all about the poke for Dignitas. They've got to soften them up. You have to have Blue as well as Neo constantly poking away at them, chipping away, because TL are just going to look for the hard engage. We'll see if they commit to it right now.
FakeGod's timed it well. He's got Gnar ready to go. LeBlanc over the wall looking for Santorin. Will not go in for the play. Soul point now. Now does FakeGod go in? They're going to have River jump in. Ulti to the back line. Hecarim dives over 1 for 0 so far. TL just going to cut him to pieces. It's time to run away. And Dignitas it all away. Only one left alive. Neo's burning, and now a Baron is gonna be a freebie.
Yeah, they're gonna go right over to Baron. Dig got the dragon, but they wanted more. They had FakeGod in the Gnar, but they get punished so hard for trying to go for it. TL has such a massive amount of CC that when they commit to that, they're just getting locked down, burst down. TL take the fight, they take the Baron, they take the mid lane tower. It's gonna be over 5,000 gold in the advantage now, and it's gonna be hard for Dignitas to ever make good on all those dragons that they stacked up.
Yeah, good luck sneaking the next one. This is definitely a Baron. It's gonna be picked up onto all 5. Gold lead grows to nearly 6,000. Watch this again.
Yeah, it's really just all about the engage here. Dignitas, really good job actually having Blue. He connects the chain, and he's kind of just zoning Santorin out. He keeps him away. They get the smite down, but FakeGod, I think, is calling here. We can go for this. River, though, actually misses the stun. He goes for an angle on the Gnar. It gets actually stopwatch there by Bjergsen. Only Bwipo gets hit into the wall, who has oranges. The others just get pushed away, so it's kind of an awkward angle on the Gnar ulti there. And a really nice stasis from Bjergsen avoiding it. So you only got Bwipo. It doesn't really accomplish much. TL turn around, dropping all the CC, the Hecarim ulti coming through, the Nautilus ulti, the GP ulti, all of them get dropped. Did get locked down and just burst down immediately.
And now they gotta lick the runes and find some way to come back into this one. They know, all right, look, if you just donate us that last dragon, the scoreboard looks pretty close, actually. 5K versus Soul, it's a close game, all things considered, but you have to make that happen with that 5K deficit right now, and that's a tough sell.
And I think it's also just difficult because they need to 5v5 for the dragon, and I think TL have a much better 5v5 comp here. They have so much engage, so many ways to go in and really punish Dig if they mess up whatsoever, as we just saw. Plus, a lot of key items have come through now. 3 items on their top laner, 3 items on Bjergsen, 3 items on Hansama. He has the IE as well. So TL is really, really fed. It's all up to Blue. He's got to find some sort of a pick.
Oh, we're gonna find a little bit there. Bjergsen gets stunned up, and they can't finish the kill, and now they're diving on towards this poor Viego, who gets back to safety, to be honest. Gets out, stays alive. Withstanding one of those plays is pretty important here. Dignitas just kind of need to wait out the Baron. But on the other side of the map, guess what? Bwipo was only there with an ulti. He was still pushing bot lane, and one turret falls.
And he has the Ravenous Hydra, which means Gnar is never going to push you out of lane at that point as the GP. Has a really nice split push setup. Triforce, Hullbreaker, Ravenous Hydra, allows you to sustain, continuously poke, increases the wave clear, push in, you get that CDR. He's buying up even more on top of this, so we can continuously cross-map ult to help out the team. Level 16 now too, so things looking really, really good. And TL just want to continue to play around their ulti timers. Every time the ultimates are up, that is how TL's comp functions. You look for the engage, you follow up with your ultimates, and you try to get those kills.
Looking for a little bit more. Red Bull Baron buff power play 2600, basically just the Baron plus a turret and change, some waves, and 30 seconds left on that one. They can maybe find one more to turn in. Yeah, 7K. They can maybe go for top tier 2 just in time with 20 seconds, like at the end of the buff basically, and then reset at the very end of it, and that's going to be the 1 minute timer until the fight for defending Dragon Soul.
Yep, and that's going to be a really nice time to actually get back to base. They're going to have plenty of time to spend all of their gold. They're not going to be caught on a weird reset here. Get their vision down, prepare for this big dragon fight, and we'll see if Dignitas even want to go for it. Because if they don't have vision in the area, I don't know that they're going to want to walk in blind and even try to contest. They may just try to turtle up and hope that there's a better opportunity later off of a pick. But it's definitely going to be a tough one because for now, they've been pinned in their base for so long, they just have no vision, right? You know, there's nothing in this whole quadrant of the map. They have one little blue trinket in that area, so they've got to just face check bush after bush after bush. They need to have FakeGod push this out and then group with the team because realistically, I think he's the only one that can actually safely check through. You can try to use Ezreal Qs and Karma Qs and stuff to check, but if you're that close, you can easily get Ashe arrowed or Nautilus hooked and just die.
Yep, and here they go. Bottom jungle belong to Team Liquid. Thank you for the vision toggle. Thank you. That is exactly what Dignitas sees, which is we're gonna wait a while. You know what? We'll try for the dragon in 5 minutes from here. This one's yours. There's no way you can really fight for that. You're not giving up much. You're gonna get the dragon anyway. So TL is incrementing their lead by 400 gold in stats realistically. Like not that much changes. They'll wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah, you can see Viego going towards top side. They're hoping to get a tier 2 off of this. Blue has just been pushing up top. We're seeing the Viego try to at least get away at camp or something. I don't think they're even going to be able to actually finish the tier 2. At the very least, they do push in the minions. They'll deny a little bit of farm here, steal away a camp. So Dignitas just trying to play for scraps at this point. They know they can't really contest in the straight up 1v1. And the Maw comes through for Bwipo. You can see it's a wit's end angle now for Hansama. So TL is starting to pick up more MR. Verdant Barrier as well for Bjergsen. They're all saying, how do we possibly lose this game? Well, LeBlanc one-shots us. So what do? Everyone starts building MR. All the carries are building MR now for TL, which I just think is intelligent. They don't need more damage. They have more than enough. They're monstrously ahead. Only way you lose is getting 100-0 by LeBlanc.
Pretty much here. So Blue is on death cap though. It's going to feel pretty good. Maybe a Void Staff fourth now since there is finally MR. Okay, now that I've seen it, I should build the components and that'll synergize well with the build he's got. Still is going to be threatening. I'll guess he does at least half a Hansama's health even through a Wit's End. In just like a sort of a QR-E combo. I think you probably need to pop the other mark. But a very, very large threat and went for the earliest spike possible, which also made sense based on the game plan. Baron up at 35.
It's just so hard because when your opponents are ahead, you need the full combo. Like, you need the distortion damage, you need the chain to pop, you need everything, and you can't actually hang around for the chain to connect when they have this much CC. So really all you can do is W in, QR, immediately snap back after the initial poke of that chain. Because if you hang around, you're gonna get arrow.
Okay, cleanse away, gonna stay alive. Santorin gonna dive in, not much of here, but does get one. A hop back for the mini Gnar, and actually decent damage here, but Bjergsen is unstoppable. He has deleted Biofrost. Blue jumps back, but he's still getting shot down. Will it pick the right target? Yes, they will. Bwipo finds the kill on a Blue now as well. Dignitas, 3 versus 5. The fight starts, and the fight is ended by Teal getting 2 kills.
Yeah, they get the kills so quickly, and they're to go forward. Flash charm.
That's down to FakeGod. A good Mega Gnar, a flash of safety. Hecarim will not be able to dive this turret. Charm will not land either, but still, this base will fall.
Nicely done. TL gonna knock down the tower, retreat to the Baron here. River still alive. Gonna try to catch Bwipo, who was late on the retreat, but the stun misses, and he should be A-okay.
Can't get much of the vision anymore. They know Bjergsen's right there, killing that ward. All right, if I follow that one, nothing good happens. Baron gonna be claimed now as well. A good pick by TL. They saw the opportunity. They went for it. It was a clean 2-0. That's not gonna be a steal. Nice try. And all you can do is pad the stats, but it has an assist to the list, and Baron is claimed. Last hit by Hansama.
Really nicely done by TL. They've played out the last 15 minutes of this game so incredibly cleanly. The arrow comes through. Nice buffer on the E there from Neo, gets away. But on the other side, it's Bjergsen. The Nautilus ult lands. He waits for the Nautilus ult to actually connect on the Karma, and then just full combo out of it. There's no outplaying that from Biofrost. It's the power of the CC. At the same time, Bwipo chasing down Blue. Him and Bjergsen pairing up to knock him down. The other 3 do escape from Dignitas, but with Biofrost down, with Blue down, there's no winning out in the fight. So again, TL on the push here with the Baron buff, 2.5 minutes of that Baron action. going to be shoving in on multiple sides. They're going to play through 2 lanes here. Bwipo on one side pushing in, they have Bjergsen pushing in the other, and they have a 3-man squad with all their CC hanging out in the middle.
Here's the push forward now yet again, over the wall. Blue looking for the poke. Yeah, you can always throw, E or Q, whatever, and then just W back before the lantern ever hits you or the hook ever hits you, and you're going to be fine. No anchors to get that one, and they're still forced to run away as TL shoves the control wards forward. 3 different brush, looks like. It's going to be all warded up, one over the wall as well to make sure the base gate doesn't do anything special. And Core knows they're not on any wards either.
He wants the arrow from Fog. He's trying to find an angle here to hit someone.
Yeah, it's a pretty squishy LeBlanc build. Has gone for the most damage possible, bit of health, and that's it. Ezreal's going to land at a 2. Someone dropped a bit low, 1400. You'd love to get on that one. They don't have any good safety tools, right? There's no Locket, there's no Tom Kench, but you can't really reach as CoreJJ would lock your LeBlanc down the whole time. Bit of poke can try, not going to find the stun either for River. Gets away from the anchor. Bwipo shoves in the mid lane. That split push working very, very well. Poolbreaker still active. Bottom hitter drops as well. Dignitas going to keep dropping bits of the base during the Baron buff. And wait and wait and wait and try to find that opening later.
Yep, and TL again just going to reset, be there on time for Dragon. They're not staying out on the map longer than they have to. They're just slowly grinding Dignitas out of this game, taking no chances, nearly a 10,000 gold lead at this point. Everyone resets, spends up that gold, gets out here, try to take another dragon, put themselves at soul point as well. While Bwipo is pushing out top, they're going to again have their 3-4-man squad, pushing out mid lane here, just playing it very smart, very safe, and TL not leaving a lot of options here.
They're going to get some damage on a Bwipo there, and the flash over the wall might be safe for now. They get over in time. This should be a chase down as LeBlanc shows up for a bit more. Good damage comes across, won't find the barrel chain, will be rooted, and finally, that will just be the kill. Shutdown comes through, but here's the push into the base. They got 8 seconds to get a lot done. This should be at least one Nexus turret. They'll focus the bottom one. They won't kill it, and they won't kill the top one either. So a shutdown comes across. They keep the base live for a moment. Now, will there be a play in the 5v4? Keep in mind, Dragon is alive when Bwipo is dead.
Yeah, so TL actually went to try to potentially even end the game. They had CoreJJ going over there trying to stop some bases. He was only actually able to stop Biofrost, though, but they will retreat back. It won't be Dignitas trying to stop this one. They know that all the ultimates are up for the other 4 TL members, so if you try to face check in, you're likely going to go down. TL moved to Soul Point, a good pick on Bwipo. It's all Dignitas can really do is just overload one side of the map and hope you get something out to buy yourself some time. Because as TL finishes out their item builds, you are going to slowly catch up, but it's a long ways off.
Arrow lands, but I think it's going to be okay. Like, You landed a stun, but 0% of the time was that a kill and a Neo. Doesn't really matter. Like, you're between everything anyway. Maybe you bait a Mikhail's, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where, maybe if it was a different target they thought was really easy to kill, they flash in or they try to hex flash over the wall and follow up or something. But either way, not going to be too big of a deal. TL just continue the push here, escorting in these minions through mid. Bot naturally pushing with the supers. Bwipo again up towards top, and TL just move around as this squad here, trying to make sure of this one.
Feeling a little safer because Arrow is down. They have 1 fewer cooldown to worry about. Tag on a CoreJJ, shields almost all of it. They find their way in yet again. Banshee's now picked off, actually, so a better stun target here for Bjergsen. He has a Zhonya's. Hansama, once again at 1400, doesn't have any bonus health. It's not a Bloodthirster, it's not a shield bow, it's not a Maw. What you see is what you get. A stopwatch is relevant unless you stun him.
Yep, has the stopwatch, has the wit's end, so has a little bit of safety from that, but definitely would be vulnerable. It's just so hard for them to get in to do that much damage when everyone has so much CC. LeBlanc, if she can ever find the angle, can for sure 100-0 Ashe, but in the midst of Nautilus and Hecarim and Ahri, someone's going to CC you, and you're going to be the one that goes down.
Yeah, that's how that works pretty much. So we are into the Blighting Jewels now as the mages look to add a Void Staff later onto the build. Of course, for Bjergsen, it's item number 5. That's gone for a cheaper build, keep in mind. A cheaper Mythic, and Banshees and Zhonya's both are quite inexpensive compared to a Death Cap. So, though, yes, Blue's behind a whole item slot, and to be fair, he is behind in gold. He's down 2 Barons and 5 turrets. Not exactly down a full item in practice.
Yep, he's down 800 gold individually, but Bjergsen is kind of more that supportive role, and they have Blue here on that side.
Gonna find a slow, a nice juke back, but Blue certainly doesn't have any way of living through there. There it comes across, Santorin gets the kill, and Baron will spawn during his death. His TP will come up as he revives. May just be a push for the base. FakeGod, Gnar, way too far up in the mid lane.
Arrows available.
Could be a lot of danger. Where will the stun come from? Not gonna try just yet, as ult only hits Santorin for a bit of poke. And here goes the siege. 40 seconds on the block to end the game.
And Mikhails is now finally done, so Biofrost does have that available here.
Charm, gonna land, gets out. No, still gonna get a lot more done. And just a bounce house, poor Neo dies. Mikhails might have come in late. He never got the flash away. This will be the end of the game, you gotta believe it. Gnar can try. He gets one back, actually. The minions aren't really here, so Santorin losing some health. Bjergsen the same. The last shot made two minis out of range. Ignite won't quite kill him. Dignitas barely stays alive. Biofrost burns down. CoreJJ gets that kill in River. Gonna lose his Guardian Angel. Wave in from the top side. Look at the time, the cooldowns appropriately. Able to flash to stay alive. But the turrets are falling. Blue revives in 4 seconds, has everything up when he does so. But they're going for the Nexus already. FakeGod has no HP, wants to bait him in. It's going to be the try to get that first kill as the Nexus falls. And Team Liquid win yet another.
Well played game there by Team Liquid, looking really clean this Super Week. Really indexing heavily towards these hard engaged comps. They did it yesterday. They're doing it again today, and have been so good with their coordination in the 5v5s. All of these team fights showing up. They're always on the same page. The CC layering has been there from them. Dignitas had some bright moments early on. You know, they get the invade, they punish Santorin off a bit of misplay at his Raptors, they get a kill on bot side. You know, they had a good start, but TL were so stable, so strong throughout the next 20 minutes of the game. You know, they just kind of got into their comfort zone, and they're showing again they're one of these teams that is rarely able to be challenged in this late game scenario. When they're playing for 5v5, when they're playing for Dragon setups, they're so damn good. It really is looking like the TL of old.
Yeah. And they're peaking at kind of the right time. I think Bjergsen, to me, is the man of the match. I feel like he made so many of those picks work. And I don't want to sell everyone else short, but like, okay, the arrows came through and Neo would arcane shift in time. By the way, Neo's mechanics were cracked that game. Just like, sucks that, you know, they're on a losing team, but every time he got arrowed or charmed from Fog of War, he at least got the arcane shift going to build distance. Like, I want to give him a lot of credit because he did play that really well on the Ezreal. You've got 7 points of engage, and you've arcane shifted every single one of them every single time. Like, that is impressive, but TL kept going, and Bjergsen landed so many of those engages. He would go and find a way to pick out Biofrost or wherever, and just the man was everywhere, and you know, kind of closed the game out.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where there's always so many things you can talk about, and it's like, it's interesting because it's like, to speak about Neo, I'm like, well, probably should have taken Cleanse this game, right?
Yeah.
And if he's not going to take Cleanse, then maybe Bio should have rushed Mikhails, right? Because the Mikhails got completed, I think, literally as their Nexus was getting pushed.
Yeah, he had him for one fight.
So it's one of those scenarios where it's like, that's something that is interesting for me to talk about, but would it have actually affected the game? Hard to say, right? Because I think TL were just so good at actually controlling the map, and I think one of their big strengths ever since they've had CoreJJ has been vision control and setups. They've been really, really excellent with that, and I think that made Blue's job so difficult. That paired with the CC, it's just hard for him to get anything done because Blue had a great early game.
Yeah, as soon as the Hecarim dove in the bottom lane and killed Biofrost, like, well, we don't have bot pressure anymore, so we don't have a bot lane dive anymore, right? We expected to push that one. So, yeah, it can be tough. Either way, Team Liquid, by far the better team. Well done to them. We are joining